What's going on, everybody? Chase with iDub Hockey, joined today with two very special guests, Nick Boyarsky from Konixx Hockey, as well as Lyndsey Fry. You might know her from the U.S. women's national team. She's a huge advocate for women's hockey, for the Arizona Coyotes in terms of ice and roller, and then just so many other things that we could talk 45 minutes about. But my favorite is the Skating for Leighton cause that we'll talk about a little bit later. So as most of the viewers know, these videos start out usually with us jumping into tech and spec. But Lyndsey, you have a really unique experience pushing these Purex street wheels to the absolute limit. And, we want to really hear your feedback in terms of, how to feel skating and really why were you skating 96 miles in the Arizona Valley as well. So if you could start with that and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so thanks, Chase. Just to give people some background on what Skating for Leighton was, the reason that I skated 96 miles. So Leighton was a little girl. She's 9 years old, battled with stage 4 cancer, and unfortunately passed away in November of 2020. And so I had actually had this idea probably 2-3 months before she passed away. It was kind of unclear what the NHL season was going to look like with COVID going on. And I thought, man, what can I do to really bring the Arizona hockey community together? And I thought of this idea of rollerblading, just this absurd amount of miles throughout the valley. And I was going to start at Phoenix Children's Hospital, where Leighton got a lot of treatment. I was going to stop at every single ice rink throughout the valley and then end at Gila River Arena, where the Coyotes play. And originally, I wanted Leighton to be a part of it. I wanted to push her in one of those cool athletic strollers. And unfortunately, a few weeks after I had this idea, it became clear that Leighton was quickly running out of time. So we changed the entire event. We rebranded it to Skating for Leighton. And when she passed away that morning, we decided we're going to raise a ton of money through this, and it's all going to go toward this Leighton Accardo Memorial Scholarship Fund that was going to go toward helping young girls like Leighton get into hockey. So that was kind of the genesis of it. And the actual training part of it to get there, everybody thinks about the end result. They think about the day that I actually skate, but that was, 14 hours of really what ended up being this 5-month journey. The Purex street wheel was a huge part of that. And I know we're going to get into it in a second.
And so as we were talking off screen, the Purex street wheel felt different from a handful of other models that you were testing before. So how would you maybe describe the difference going from, kind of a standard performance outdoor wheel and then hopping into this, truly high performance street wheel?
Yeah, no, I think the biggest challenge is, so where I was skating was, it was anytime I was on concrete, it felt pretty good. It was when I got more on the asphalt, which I did a lot of skating on, that I really started to feel the difference between the wheels. And so when I was on asphalt with some of the, lower models for outdoor wheels, they weren't bad. I just kind of felt it just felt slow. The wheel felt soft. It felt like it was just getting munched away after 3 skates. And so talking to Nick, it was exciting to figure out that there was something, different coming out soon that I would be able to test. And so when I first got on the Purex street wheel, I think the biggest thing I noticed, and it was funny because he was asking me, he's like, all right, what'd you think? And I was not sure if what I was describing was going to make any sense, but I was like, I feel like I grip the ground really well. It feels like the wheel's kind of compressing when I push into the ground, but then when I push off, it pops back, it springs back to form. And he's like, that's exactly what it's supposed to do. This is great. And I was like, oh, okay, perfect. So, I something that detailed as far as the feeling of this wheel. I totally felt it made a huge difference, and it just felt so much faster, especially when I was on more of that asphalt ground.
It sounds like, Nick, you were able to really bring that indoor high-end dual port performance to the outdoors, especially, as she mentioned, on those really rough surfaces where you really need a little bit more speed, compared to maybe a concrete that you can roll on a little bit easier. So let's hop into this Purex street wheel. Let's talk about, the tech and spec. But before we do, how would you describe, maybe your guys' goal? What were you trying to accomplish? And it sounds like it's kind of like that compression and that pop, as Lyndsey mentioned, but how would you describe what you were trying to accomplish here?
Thanks, Chase. Well, I think one of the biggest backstories for this wheel is, beginning of the pandemic, last April, May, outdoor wheels, because that's the only place anybody could skate, ice skate, inline skate. You could go outdoors on your inline skates. That's what you could do. We were obviously selling a ton of our two existing outdoor wheels, the Triton and the Rocket 2X. But as people were out skating and skating outdoors more and playing a lot of outdoor hockey and beach hockey on the West Coast and some other places kind of got more popular and came back into prominence, everyone was kind of in one of two boats. They were either taking old indoor wheels and skating outdoors on them to just trash them and be done, but then it was slow and they got torn up really quick, or they were on outdoor wheels that maybe last a little bit longer, but didn't really grip and felt like rocks under your feet. And skating a straight line is different than hockey cuts and turns and stops and things you try to mimic playing indoors on outdoors. So beginning of the pandemic, we said, we can come up with a better wheel than this. We have the technology for indoor wheels. We have dual pour technology that we do on our indoor wheels. We have our U-base 4 formula that we use on the Purex. We can do something like this. So we started doing some beta testing with trying different formulas and different additives to find something that was going to actually provide that feel. Long story short, 4 months of pandemic testing and using some great Konixx social media followers that adopted into our tester program, we came up with this formula that became the Purex Street dual pour wheel.
And so let's talk a little bit more about how does a dual pour wheel vary from a single pour? There's a lot of, hockey nerds like myself, gear nerds out there that, are very familiar with the differences there. But, if you are maybe just getting back into roller hockey, especially street hockey, and you want to take your game to the next level, which obviously you want to get the Purex wheel, but you don't know the differences there. What is really that difference and how does that really benefit the player?
That's a great question. So standard wheel has always been urethane poured over either a nylon or urethane hub that your bearings sit into. And the harder the wheel, the better it lasts outdoors. Softer the wheel, the more it compresses and grips on like an indoor tile, but the more it would tear apart on an abrasive surface. We were not the pioneers of dual pour. Most of our competitors have a dual pour wheel, so it's not something specific to us. The technology is pretty simple. You've got a softer pour on the inside, so you have your bearing hub. So your kind of your hub that your bearing sits in. Inside of that wheel, there is basically a very soft inner pour that sits around that hub, and then that wheel is moved into another mold, and a harder pour for this Purex Street wheel, a very hard pour, has poured over the top of that. What you end up with is in your cuts and turns and stops, and to kind of circle back to what Lyndsey was feeling when she skated the Purex Street the first time, a lot of that compression and things that would normally happen on a single pour wheel based on how hard or soft it is, happens internally in that dual pour, that softer dual pour between the outer pour and the hub itself. So you don't get your wheel flattening out, you don't get wheel bend and twist, everything kind of stays firm, and all that happens inside the wheel. All that leads to basically better performance, and because the outer pour can be a little bit harder, better durability.
Awesome. So really the best of both worlds. You're still getting that high-end elite durability, but now with that dual pour construction, you're getting that more of an indoor high performance responsiveness and energy transfer, and also grip too, right?
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. And then to finish this up here, what sizes will the Purex Street be available in?
So since the majority of body weights that are going to get the benefit of dual pour are going to be adult sized guys or girl skaters, we got 76 and 80, which are your two popular sizes, either a straight 76, straight 80, or high-low hybrid of the two. That wheel for now is just available in 76 millimeter and 80 millimeter only, and an 85A durometer.
Perfect. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us today. Likewise with you, Lyndsey. We really appreciate you sitting down and really walking us through your experiences on that Purex Street wheel today.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Not a problem. And then for everyone else at home, if you want to check out the Skating for Leighton cause, quick Google search, you could find that very easily. Check the videos out. And then if you are looking for the Purex Street Wheel as well, make sure you head over to inlineandicewarehouse.com.